Barr. We're joined by Virginia Representative Subramanyam with the latest on this investigation. Morning. Thanks so much for being back with us.
Thank you.
So the Oversight Committee's deposition of Bill Barr, what did you hear? Did you learn anything new from him?
Well, first of all, we had the wrong AG in the room. What we really should have is Pam Bondi, the current AG, who swore she had the files on her desk ready to be shared with everyone, and yet ended up not doing so, and also informing the president that he was in them. So, having Bill Barr there was not exactly the best person to have there, but, he was there. I'll say that, he didn't do anything to make me feel better about the situation. He didn't do anything to clear the president's name, certainly, and what he did do, though, is bring up more questions. For instance, I would like to talk to Alex Acosta now. He was the former prosecutor who gave Epstein a sweetheart deal in 2007, which kind of led to, more victims later on. And so I would like to see him come before the committee. And obviously, I'd like to see AG Bondi as well.
So you accuse some of your Republican colleagues of being a little unserious during this deposition. What kind of questions were they asking the former Attorney General, and what kind of questions were you asking him that sort of made you feel like they're not taking this as seriously as they should?
Yeah, we were asking the hard questions on the Democratic side and doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I think this Republican majority wants to essentially cover for the president and block and tackle for him, essentially. The kinds of questions that were being asked were essentially, things that are already in the public record. We were asking very direct questions, and I think the difference was very striking to me. And so as this continues, again, they're trying to subpoena the Clintons. What do the Clintons have to do with the Trump administration's cover-up of this? I don't know. And so what I would like to see is having AG Bondi come before us, or the thing that will end all of this is if they just release the unredacted full files. They could have done that yesterday. That was their deadline. Their deadline was yesterday to release them, and they didn't do that. But now they're saying that they're going to release a trickle of files, and what I think they're going to do is release them selectively in a way that makes the president look great. And I think in the end, that's not what the American people want or deserve.
Well, it's interesting because Oversight Chair James Comer says DOJ is cooperating. Let's listen to him say that.
We are in constructive, productive conversations with the DOJ. And one thing that we picked up in here, there are a lot of documents. There have to be a lot of documents. So I'm under the impression that they're gathering all these documents, and that's what the subpoena called for. And I think the administration knows this is what Congress wants, Republicans and Democrats. And I think President Trump has said clearly he wants to, release all the documents. So we're going to get the documents.
And yet everybody seems to be dragging their feet on this. They've had those documents for a really, really long time, and now you're saying they're going to be coming out in a trickle. Is there any reason why?
I think they want to select documents to release. They don't want to release all of the files that they have. They certainly wouldn't want to release a list that would embarrass the president in any sort of way, or anything that speaks at the relationship between the president and Jeffrey Epstein, or any of the president's friends or donors and Jeffrey Epstein. And so I think that's why there's been this slow trickle. And again, it's the easiest thing in the world to just say we're going to release the files, exactly like they promised on the campaign over the last couple of years. I talked to one voter who said one of the reasons they voted for Donald Trump was because the Biden administration was engaged in this cover-up. And so either the Trump administration and Donald Trump, they were lying during the campaign and there was no cover-up, or they are the ones covering things up right now, or the president's very involved and mentioned in these files in an embarrassing way, and they don't want to release them. And either way, it's not good for the American people, and on the Oversight Committee, it's our job to get answers.
So let's be honest here, Congressman. This story centrally is about children who are victimized by potentially rich and powerful people. So what do you say to the sort of bipartisan criticism that is out there, that when it comes to this whole issue, both Democrats and Republicans are only pushing forward with this because they want to dig up dirt on each other?
Yeah, I'll say this, I'm new to Congress, but even in previous administrations, I support full transparency, whether it's a Democrat or Republican in office. And so, moving forward, if you're going to promise people files related to someone who committed terrible crimes as part of an effort to show the American people that no one is above the law, no matter how much money they have, this is the way to do it. But this president, this administration has shown the opposite. They've shown that, it's the president can receive a plane from Qatar, but, everyday people engaged in any sort of wrongdoing will be prosecuted by the administration to the fullest if they're a political opponent, right? And so I think this administration is sending the opposite message that they campaigned on, which is transparency and that nobody is above the law.
So as all of this goes on, what some people would call gamesmanship or just difficulty getting it out, who don't we hear from? Who doesn't get, their way are the victims. We've been hearing from a couple of victims who want to see these files. They feel like they continue to some degree to be exploited just because they're not getting what they're looking for. What do you say to them?
I say that the victims deserve a voice in this entire process. If they want to see the files, it's incumbent upon us to pressure this administration to get the full files and anything else that will bring any semblance of sort of peace for them, because they've been through hell, and this has been a terrible situation for them. And I think it was a failing of our criminal justice system. Jeffrey Epstein continued to prey on girls, essentially, over these years, and we did nothing about it. And so we have big reforms that we need to make, and part of this is releasing these files, giving the victims what they asked for is a great step in the right direction. But this administration made that promise, and so far they haven't kept it.
Gears, we know you all are returning from recess September 2nd. I want to ask you about any potential rescissions bills that are coming. And as things stands right now, how confident are you that you all can come together and keep the lights on in the government and avoid a shutdown?
I'd like to avoid a shutdown. The best way to avoid a shutdown is to do what we've done in previous sessions, which is to come together in a bipartisan way and figure out a way to continue the government. I'd like to see us pass budgets and not have to go 6 months at a time, CR to CR. But it looks like this Republican majority is going to do this in a partisan way again. And I think they're going to need votes on the Senate Democratic side, because they're not going to get us bailing them out if they're going to do a partisan bill that essentially shuts down the government anyway by cutting very essential people, including a lot of Virginia federal workers that I represent.
Hi, Congressman Subramanyam, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.